All right, so in this video, I just wanted to talk about a couple of tips and tricks using Grubhub in 2020. This is the last week of 2019. I've worked for Grubhub for the entire year of 2019. So I'm just basically gonna talk to you about some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I use to make as much money as I can, and some things that you guys could try to use in the year coming forward to make as much money as possible. So the first things are kind of obvious things. You wanna eat. Make sure you eat in the morning before your shift starts or before the Grubhub app is available to run, so that you don't have to waste time throughout the day, finding something to eat. Now, if you're somebody who needs to eat every couple of hours, I would recommend you bring lunch with you so that you don't have to cancel an order or lose out on a potential order because you need to go, make something to eat or grab something to go eat. Gas is another thing. Obviously, make sure you have gas before your shift starts so that you don't have to worry about your gas getting low or even trying to get gas in between your shifts. That's another thing that could just slow you down and you don't need to be doing it. Keeping your phone charged. So obvious, we need our phones for the job. You should probably have a car charger so that you never have to worry about your phone getting low, and you could just basically work as long as you really want to. Secondly, it's gonna be location. As I've stated in my previous videos, location is very, very crucial to where you are. You want to be in somewhat of a city type area where restaurants are kind of close to each other. That way you can get a lot of orders at once, maybe stacked orders, which I'll talk about in a little bit, as opposed to a country, place where it's going to take a lot more time to get from place to person as far as delivering orders and getting those complete. You also want to get to know your area. If you're going to be going from restaurant to restaurant and you really have no idea where anything is, you've never even heard of these places, and you're just brand new, things will obviously be a lot harder for you than the person who knows the city like the back of their hand. Now, obviously, we all use our GPS to go from place to place because that will tell us the quickest way possible, but you still want to have a general idea as to the locations, and just have a general idea as to the city that you're in and just be somewhat comfortable with it. That will definitely help you out in the long run. Let's see what else. You want to know your hotspots. There's going to be a map on your app that obviously tells you your hotspots. Some places are going to be hotter than others. There's reds, and then there's oranges, maybe some yellows as well. So you really want to try to stay in the red, which is going to be the hotter areas, and try to start off in those spots to so that the orders go to you, being that you're already there and you can just get it and try to get the order done quicker than normal. Let's see what else. Another thing is you could even download the Grubhub customers app, and one thing that'll tell you is basically if you download the customers app and you try to order food, some customers, based on where they are, their options are only like fast food chains, which they can't really accumulate that high of a bill, as to where if you check a different location, their options are going to be maybe higher end restaurants where their bills are going to be much higher, which means a higher tip. So if you stay in those areas, you're probably going to get orders that are going to be higher money per order as opposed to the lower areas. And the only way to really know that, now I'm not going to say the only way, but one of the ways that I know of that you can know that is by using the customer app and trying to order something. Not that you have to go through with it, but just try to order and see what your options are in this area. And if the options are crappy in that area, then as a delivery driver, those are gonna be your options as well to deliver that food. And if you still, you go to the other area and their options are all high-end restaurants, as a delivery driver, that's gonna be your orders. So those are just like little things that, that you can try to look into just to better yourself or just make your situation as strong as possible. Let's see what else. Another thing is after delivering for a while, you'll get to know which restaurants are kind of bad restaurants. I'm not encouraging anyone to deny orders or reject orders or anything like that, but you will get to know what restaurants simply never have the food on time, or always give you a hard time, or don't start the order until you get there. Or I know of one restaurant personally where there's just no parking at all whatsoever. And once I do get inside, after parking my car some distance, in a place I'm not supposed to anyway, it takes forever for me to get the food. So I'm just risking each time getting a ticket over an order that's not really that much to begin with. And you'll know which places are like that, which places you're gonna have to think about, you know, before you get there. Another thing is you want to learn the base pay. So if you learn the base pay and then the amount per mile, you'll sometimes get to know how much, you'll get an idea as to how much the tip is going to be before you accept the offer. So if you can see what the amount is going to be, they don't tell you the tip until you accept. But if you see what the amount is going to be and you know what the base pay is and you know where it is and how much it is per mile, and yet the amount is still really low, you know your tip is either zero or really, really low. So those are just some of the things that you can use to at least get somewhat of an idea as to how much your tip is going to be before you go ahead and accept your offer. Another thing is going to be working peak times. Everyone knows lunchtime is going to be the busiest time. It's also going to be the time where the roads are going to be at least less hectic as opposed to rush hour. Being that everyone's at work, a lot of people work throughout the day and can't leave their job for lunch, so they order things like Grubhub, Uber Eats, you know, DoorDash, and those are going to be the busiest times for us because a lot of people are in those situations where they need people like us to order or to deliver them food, and that just makes it good for us because everyone's at work, so the roads are kind of cleared, and yet we're still busy as hell. Now rush hour is going to be a different story because everyone gets out. Some people get out and do their own food thing. Some people get out and still want to order. But the point is everyone's out. So even if we still have orders, now we have to deal with rush hour. So there's definitely two times that are going to be busy, but one time is probably going to be busy with less of a headache than the other time. And those are things that you want to probably determine on your own, you know, based on where you live, and just figure that out so that you can, again, make as much money as possible in as quick of the amount of time as possible. Another thing is you want to add blocks and complete them. I hear a lot of people talking about their rejection rates or their acceptance rates or reliability rates just being really low, and that determines what kind of orders you're gonna get. I don't think if you have a rating if you have a reputation of consistently dropping things or dropping orders after you've accepted them, or not completing them, or just having bad ratings whatsoever or in general, they're not going to send you large catering offers. They're not going to send you, you know, top dollar offers, because they're not going to obviously risk you, who's not reliable, with one of their highest paid, you know, customers. So those are just things you really want to think about. You want to at least keep your record somewhat clean. I understand everyone's out there trying to cherry pick and try to make, you know, trying to get each order as high as possible, but you still want to make sure that your reliability rate is high enough that you don't lose out on, you know, high dollar opportunities. Another thing is you want to move quick. So all those things are helping. Already having gas, when you already ate, you have gas and you're ready to go, you're already in the hotspot, and you move quick, you get to the spot earlier than, you know, than the time says. Maybe they have the food earlier than, you know, than the time says, and you can finish the order and just bang them out. Sometimes you can get a couple more orders in between time than you would have anticipated or normally been scheduled to. And those little things can definitely add up at the end of the day. And then one of the last things is you want to keep track of your miles. I've heard and read somewhere else that 1 mile is equal to 54 cents on your tax deduction. Now, I live in Pennsylvania, so this is all relative to what state you're in and what year you're in. This is for 2019. 2020 is going to start in a couple days, so I'm sure it's going to be the same. Maybe it won't. These are things you really want to look into for that. Another thing you want to look into is you may be able to deduct your cell phone plan on your taxes, being that we need a data plan to use Grubhub. So these are all things that we can write off. I'm not sure, again, depending on what state you're in, you want to look into these little things. These are all things that a lot of people are not thinking about, and you may be able to literally not even have a cell phone bill because you need a plan to use your job, and you might be able to write it off, at least write it off or write some of it off. So these are all things to think about. And if you guys have any tips or questions, or even any comments as far as other tips that you guys know about, just comment below. Subscribe, like, stay tuned. Peace.